Some Pokemon lines were not designed with the early game in mind, and that has never been truer for a line than the Chinchou line. I really don't know what Game Freak were thinking when they gave Chinchou its Learn set and its Experience group, because the pair together really is not a great combination, especially for early game in Johto. We'll be going into further detail about that during our Kanto chat later on after the Pokémon League, so stick around for that if you do want to hear my full thoughts. For now though, I'm just going to ask everyone to make sure you're subscribed if you want to be notified about videos on the channel. The upload schedule's a little bit all over the place at the moment, so being subscribed is the best way to find out if I've got a new video up. For now though, let's have a very quick look at the stats. We're level 5 with 24 HP. Holding a berry with Bubble, Supersonic and Thunder Wave. We've got 10 in attack and defense, 12 in the specials and 13 in speed. And with that, let's hand over to the live run. So now as we embark on our journey with Chinchou, I've got to say it's one of those Pokemon I've been putting off for quite some time. Unfortunately, there's not that much going for it, especially early on in the challenge. And there's not much I can do to make it stand out compared to a lot of other Pokemon we run together here on the channel. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to deplete all of our bubble PP up here on Route 46. As you can see, we get a lot of wild Geodude on 46. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and deplete all of our bubble PP and see just how many levels that gets us, because we're not going to get very far at the moment until we get Flail at least for Falkner. So we'll see exactly how many levels we get and rejoin afterwards. So we only got up to level 7 after beating up a few Geodude and Rats there, which isn't great, but it's still better than nothing. So that is one of the first issues we'll see with Chinchou. We're in the slow experience group, so it is going to be a very big grind to get our levels, especially early on in the challenge. But now that we've done that, we can make our way towards Mr. Pokemon's house. And I think the plan here is to just play this as any other water type. We're going to be focusing heavily on Surf. We've got ourselves Hidden Power Ice. And we'll also, as an extra bonus after the league, be able to get ourselves Thunderbolt as well. So we're going to be running the Scamulet coin much later on in this challenge. That's far, far too early to think about now though, as we chat with Professor Oak. We are going to start heading back towards Azalea Town, and it's going to be one of those sloggy rival battles coming up. One of those ones where we're going to hold a berry and just hope for the best. You can see even against the level 3 Hoots, we're not doing that much damage at all. So really, the start of this challenge is just tedious, which is part of the reason why I didn't want to do this one, honestly. But we are now at Rival 1, let's see how we get on. Hopefully it won't be too bad. He will of course have the Chikorita line. Makes sense that he's got the Chikorita line. We'll paralyze it. We'll try and confuse it as well. We'll do whatever we can to try and get as much damage possible per turn against it. We're not going to take too much damage ourselves, of course, because we are all about the bulk, but we are doing so little damage in return. There we go, we get through eventually. It takes its time. So this one I don't think is going to be challenging for top 10 on the leaderboard, but we're still going to try and get it its best possible time. Gut instinct says at this part of the challenge, try and maybe aim for Maryl's kind of time. But that is very early days. We'll name the rival triple question mark. And then we will rejoin on our way towards Violet City. I'm going to be doing a little bit more grinding in Dark Cave, try and get up to level 13. But I will meet you when we are ready for Falkner. Well, that was definitely a slog and a half, but we have finally learnt Flail. I think that means we are more than ready to at least give Falkner an attempt. Now, the old adage is you've got to spend money to make money, and it makes sense here. You've got to spend time to save time later on. Because there's absolutely no way we were getting through Falkner with his mud slapping at a lower level than 13. So this is Falkner. He's our first gym leader together. He's a flying type specialist with a penchant for ground type moves, and he leads with Pidgey. You can see we're already getting mud slapped, not a great start, double accuracy drop, and out comes Pidgeotto. We're going to try and paralyze this thing. We're just going to try and throw the dice with it. Look at that, our accuracy is so low. Already we are not having a good time with it this one. In fact, that's enough for me to take a reset and try again. Sometimes you've just got to take those resets early. We'll do Bubble again here. As long as we can get 3 bubbles hitting, we know we're fine. But this really is going to be one of the toughest battles of the entire challenge, and it's just Gym 1. All because of Mud Slap. If he didn't have Mud Slap, we could probably make something of it. Let's see how much Flail does now. Not an awful lot, but the lower our HP goes, the higher the damage output. We've just got to hope that we hit, and we don't, so we've got to try yet again. I don't think it's worth spending the extra 10 to 15 minutes though, grinding all the way up to level 17 to double our output with Water Gun. It just doesn't seem worth it. The rolling of the dice might not be reliable, but I think it's going to be quicker. Of course, it does all rely on RNG, and we know how RNG goes. We've parafused the Pidgeotto, it's still hitting through the parafusion, and it was a 1-turn parafusion as well. We're just hoping that one of our flails hits. We're on 1 HP. Tackle's missed. There we go. That is what we were after. Flail saved the day. That is our Zephyr badge in 18 minutes and 20 seconds. We're through the worst. I think it's going to be easier from here. Let's go and chat with Elm. We'll retrieve the egg. We'll put it in a box. Never to see it ever again. And then we can leave Violet City for, I was going to say once and for all, but we need to do Sprout Tower at some point. In the meantime, though, I will leave you in Violet City and we'll meet up just as we're ready to take on Bugsy. And of course, before taking on Bugsy, we do need to catch our HM friends. As always, we pause the timer for the HM friends to eliminate the element of RNG that goes both into finding and catching wild Pokemon. First up today is Paris. Will yeet a great ball at it. It catches first try, and that means second up is going to be Psyduck. Psyduck and Paris are 2 core integral parts of the team. They might not be battling, but they help us traverse the overworld. And it's in the Slowpoke well here that we're going to grow up to level 17. We obtain Water Gun at level 17, so that means we have now more than doubled our damage output. It's not the best water type move, but it's definitely an upgrade on what we had before. Still not sure it's going to be enough to see us through Rival 2. We might need to RNG it again or get up to level 25. We'll see once and for all, but now we can leave the well and we can make our way into Azalea Gym. And after beating up all of the gym trainers in Azalea Gym, it's now time to take on Bugsy. Bugsy is our second gym leader, a bug-type specialist who leads with Metapod. Once again, the strat here is just to keep spamming our Water Gun. It's all we've got really. There's nothing too much we can do. We can try paralysing this Scyther so that Fury Cutter doesn't get the chance to build, but that means he's going to pivot to Quick Attack, and he's never fully paralysed. We get very lucky at the end there though. He gets fully paralysed on the turn that it matters. We obtain the Hive badge in 26:44. We can't celebrate for too long though. The dreaded Rival 2 is just around the corner. And this one is going to be a tough one as well. I don't really have any strategy for this. We're going to equip a berry and we're just going to hope for the best. So this is Rival 2. Let's see how we get on. He's going to lead with Ghastly, which we can get away with 2 Water Guns. And of course we get sent to sleep. Why would we not get sent to sleep? And my luck today on challenge runs, I recorded, or should I say I streamed, the Swampert, Mega Swampert challenge, and the amount of sleep that happened in that one was absolutely ludicrous. We were getting full sleep every single bloody turn, it seemed like. He's critical hit with Razor Leaf and set up a Reflect. It's all over, gotta start again. I think if he doesn't set up Reflect, we're in with half a chance. But once again, this is just going to be about throwing the dice. Once again, we've fallen asleep straight away. Hypnosis is not on our side. In fact, the RNG doesn't really seem to have been on our side at all. In this particular challenge, we'll Thunder Wave again. Poison Powder's fine, and we'll Supersonic. It didn't affect. So now we'll swap to Flail, see if we can start building up our damage. And the answer is no. Just going to keep persevering, I think. I don't really want to have to do the grind. I don't know if getting up to 25 is going to be worth it, or whether we can just jinx our way through another way. We got very lucky there not getting the Poison Powder, and we'll just start flailing now. I'm just going to spam the button, honestly. I think this might be the way to go. We'll eventually get some RNG in our favour, and the more he hits us with Razor Leaf, the higher output we do. We're through the Bayleaf, we are on to the Zubat. We've just got to try and make sure we don't hit ourselves in confusion and get poisoned. We have all the elements we need as long as we get one more hit in, which we do. And we are through Rival 2. Another tricky battle all over. Let's cure ourselves of poison. I've got to heal up. There's some bits and bobs we need to do through the Ilex Forest. But the first thing is going to be catching Abra. Abra's the final HM friend that we catch. The last one, Kenya, we get as a gift from the guard at the gate. Abra's going to be helping us out with teleports, and it is a very strong addition to the team. We can now move on into Goldenrod City, where we'll grab the bike, we'll grab all the other extras that we need. We can start prepping to try and take on Whitney. I think we'll need to do a lot of battles before we take on Whitney, because we don't have the best damage output at the moment. So I'll do a little bit of training after we've got Kenya, and then we will see exactly where we need to take it from there. So this is Kenya. She is of course going to be helping us out with Fly. I'll do some grinding now off camera, and we'll meet back up for the Whitney fight. We've taken on virtually every single trainer around Whitney's gym, and we have finally grown to level 25 where we learn Spark. So we're going to teach that. That's going to be a much higher improved move compared to just Water Gun, and it might be just what we need to get through Whitney. So we'll take a heal and then we'll go straight into the gym. I've already beaten up all of the gym leaders, got very desperate for XP that I even ended up battling the police officers. And I never battle the police officers in a challenge run, but it gives me great pleasure at long last to say this is Whitney, our third gym leader together. She's a normal type specialist who leads with Clefairy. It's going to be a two-shot on Clefairy and Horn Attack. That's absolutely fine. At least it's not Perish Song. We're doing a fair amount of damage to the cow now. That was a very easy battle. I am so glad that we ground all the way up to Spark. Plain badge acquired in a time of 38 minutes and 46 seconds. We're not getting anywhere particularly quickly, but I'm starting to feel a little bit attached to our Chinchou. And now that we have access to Ecruteak City, this challenge is going to open right up. We're going to get ourselves Surf, we're going to get ourselves Hidden Power Ice, and the game is not going to know what the hell has just hit it. The bad times are over, so let us now rejoice as we enter into Ecruteak City. Where the first thing we're absolutely going to do is beat up all of these kimono girls so that we can get ourselves a wonderful Surf HM. Surf is a 95 power move in Generation 2. It is just the ticket to really increase our damage output some more. If we thought Spark was good, we ain't seen nothing yet. Surf is going to be so good. And I think the final learn set is probably going to be something like Surf, Hidden Power Ice, Return and Spark. Very basic. I will be the first to admit it's a basic learn set, even by Gen 2 standards. But this fish doesn't really have anything else going for it. We'll hopefully one-shot this Vaporeon, not quite, but it's 2 shots and that just leaves one more Pokemon left to go before we never have to Water Gun again. The sense of relief I got once we defeated Whitney is part of the reason why I do challenge runnings, because that kind of satisfaction you don't get anywhere else playing Pokemon like this. Let us teach Surf to our Blub. It has more than earned it. So it's goodbye to Water Gun, hello to Surf. We'll do a heal and then we'll do a little bit of cheating as we're going to actually go over to the Lake of Rage before we've got Surf. Now we're taking on one of my favourite trainers to battle here in Mount Mortar. This is Pokemaniac Miller. He's got two level 17s, both fully evolved Nidos. And that is just what we need to say goodbye to Chinchou, hello to Lantern, and look at that HP stat. 125 in HP. We have bulk for days now. I can totally see why this guy's a little bit annoyed by people coming in to see him, because he has tried to make his house as inaccessible as possible. We're going to be pestering him nearly every challenge run though, because it does mean we get hidden power. We're going to teach it in the place of Supersonic. Keeping Flay on the Lure set for a little bit longer than probably should do because I think there are times where we could sneak in a cheeky little flail and finish off the opponent. But with that, it is now time to take on the rival for a third time, and honestly, I don't think this one's going to be very hard at all. We have got through the absolute worst of this challenge. It's going to be smooth sailing. We've got our evolution, we've got our moves. Let us show the rival who is boss here. We say goodbye to the Haunter, he sends out Bayleaf, we're going to use Hidden Power. It's going to be 2 shots, and we don't care about Reflect. We are all about our special moves. We're going to rust up the Magnemite with a Surf. We'll use a Hidden Power on the Zubat. We'll say goodbye. And the sense of satisfaction coming from me right now is immense. We'll fall through the floor, we'll release the beasts, and we will get ready for Morty. And now as we finish off Medium Martha's final Pokemon, I'm going to risk it this time. I've not got the Mint Berry. I think I am going to risk that little bit of time loss by going straight in for this battle, because Hypnosis has under 50% chance to hit. It can't hit every time, and I think we've already had our bad luck for... Never mind, we haven't had our bad luck for Sleep, but we do have a lot of bulk. There we go, we can knock out the Gengar. One last Haunter to go, and that is Morty done, and we finally have a respectable split on the time of 45.29 for our 5th badge. So now we can make our way into Violet City, where we've got to rescue Amphi. We've also got to get ourselves a Strength HM, and then we'll cross the open waters and take on our next gym leader, Chuck. And now we are ready to take on Chuck. He's going to be our 5th gym leader together. He's a fighting type specialist who's going to lead with Primeape. Primeape shouldn't be an issue, it should be a 2-shot with Surf. And then we've got the super effective Spark for the Poliwrath. I have equipped the Mint Berry just in case, but he goes for Mind Reader so we can save the Mint Berry for another day. We get Chuck's badge in 50 minutes and 33 seconds. Now we have a bit of a choice for what we can do now after Chuck. We could try and take on Jasmine next, however with our relatively low special attack, I think it's going to be better to at least start the Lake of Rage sequence first. And it's around about this point that I've started doing a little bit of housekeeping in the challenges. I like to get this rare candy fairly early because we can fly over to Violet City. And of course we haven't done Sprout Tower yet either. So there's 2 things we can do in Violet City at one point. Plus we get to save a little bit of backtracking from that earlier movement. So I'll go and grab Flash and I will go to the Lake of Rage, where we will try and quell the angry Gyarados once more. And here we are at the Lake of Rage, not seeing any issues at all with this Gyarados. It's going to be 4 times weak to our Spark. Let's see, do we one-shots? We do. And that means just one thing, it's time to say hello to Lance, the liar with the flyers. As I'm sure you'll know, there'll be absolutely nothing of interest that happens here in the Lake of Rage section. So let's skip ahead to the gym. Well, with the Rockets being more of a pest than anything else, we are ready to take on Price. Price is going to be our 6th gym leader together today. He's an Ice and Water type specialist who leads with Seal. We've got Spark for the Seal, we've got Surf for the Piloswine, and then we'll do another Spark on the Dugong. Should be 3 simple one-shots, but it's not quite 3 simple one-shots. It's 2 one-shots and then a 2-shot to get the Glacier badge in 57.54. Let's now try and race to Olivine City to try and get our next badge before the hour mark. We have just over 75 seconds to beat up Jasmine and get her badge. It's going to be tight, but I really, really want to try and get 7 badges under the hour. I think it's a very, very good reflection on Lantern. If we are able to do that, it's looking more and more likely now. It's going to be 3 one-shots. Nothing to worry about in this gym. It just depends on how much waffling Jasmine wants to do. Mineral badge in 59.08. That means we've got 7 badges. We've got the Rockets to do. We know what happens in the Rockets. We've got Rival 4 coming up in just a moment. In some games, the rival ages like a fine wine. In this one, he ages like milk. This is Rival 4. He's going to lead with Golbat. He might swap the Golbat. He has done. We get a cheeky little hit on Meganium, though. I don't think it's enough to one-shot it, though. Razor Leaf does next, and I think that we knock it out in 2. Up next is Magnemite. We'll swap to Surf for the Magnemite. It's going to be a one-shot. It's going to be a one-shot on the Haunter as well. Absolutely no doubt about that. Sneasel Pleasel, on the other hand, could survive. Faint Attack does negligible damage. And now we've just got that pesky Golbat once more. We'll knock it out with a spark. We are through the rival for one penultimate time. I've got more rockets to beat up now. I'm not going to make you sit through all of these. It's not fun, is it? So now it is time for Claire. Claire is our final Johtonian gym leader. She's a Dragon-type specialist, an actual Dragon-type specialist, unlike Lance. She leads with Dragonair, and oh dear, we are not one-shotting her Dragonair. That could be an issue. We one-shot the second one, which says to me it's a range. I just hope we've got the health to survive the Kingdra. What can we do with the Kingdra? We can try a Spark to begin with as she locks herself in. Let's try a Flail after a Hyper Beam. We're fully paralysed. Oh no, we take a reset. So this time what we're going to do is we're going to hold the Never Melt Ice. I thought we could get away with it because we one-shot Cool Trader Mike's Dragonair, so I assumed, and you should never assume in a challenge run, this will be a guaranteed one-shot now. We'll have a much easier time. We've just got to remember to re-equip the Scamulet coin after this battle, because we are going to be looking at getting 2 moves from the move tutor, and that's going to cost an awful lot of cash money moolah. Much smoother Claire battle this time. We even get a critical hit. No thank you to takedown. There we go, Claire is defeated. Let's rush to the Dragon's Den to get the badge. And after answering the questionnaire as we always do with 11212, Claire gets herself out of her strop and we get our last Johtonian gym badge in 1 hour, 13 minutes and 45 seconds. Not the worst time in the world, definitely about what I'd expect for a Lantern. And that means we are ready to go to the Pokémon League. So we'll dig out of here, we'll head back to New Bark Town, and then we'll meet up in Victory Road for the rival. And so now we can welcome onto centre stage for one last time in this challenge, the rival. He's been a mixed bag in this challenge run, and I think it's going to be the same here. Sneasel goes down in 1 as we almost grow to 48. It's going to be a 2-shot on the Meganium. There's no way we're knocking it out in 1. And he does have to be a thorn in our side for one last time by poisoning us. We'll get rid of Magneton in 1-shot with Surf. It's going to be a 1-shot with Haunter as well. The last Pokemon is Kadabra. That's going to go down very easily. I lied. The last Pokemon is, of course, Golbat. We'll use Spark against the Golbat. We'll knock it out. And we say goodbye to the rival for one last time. There's going to be momentary flashing on screen. But we're not going to be thanking the HM friends yet. Because we are running an Electric-type Pokemon. And that means we could encounter the Bruno problem. We've seen it a couple of times before where Bruno completely wrecks our day. So there are a couple of things we can do to try and counter that. The first is to go into Slowpoke Well, where we'll be able to pick up 2 or 3 items. Well, 1 or 2 items, I lie. We'll get ourselves the King's Rock. We're also going to get the Rain Dance TM so that we can try and boost our Surf's power. That's one of the options we have. The other option is a held item that we're going to get from the Ruins of Alph, and I'm not sure if I've ever shown getting this on camera before, which is why I'm choosing to show it now. But if you go to the Ruins of Alph, if you remember how to get there, it does help, you can then go to this very bottom right hand room, and in here you can use Flash. We've got Flash on our Paras. That will open up the back door here. And one of these items is a Gold Berry. That's going to restore 30 HP. 30 HP might not seem like a lot, but it could be just enough to save the battle. But now we will say thank you to Kenya, to Abra, to Psyduck, merci to Paris, and the biggest thank you of all goes to you wonderful HM friends, you channel members. You really do help make the content possible, so a genuine heartfelt thank you to each and every one of you. Let's take a look at our stats going into the league. Level 48 with 171 HP. No, that's a lie. Level 48 with 208 HP. Amulet Coin with Surf, Spark, Flail and Hidden Power. 94 in attack, 91 in defense, 113 in the specials, 103 in speed. Those, of course, the out of battle stats. Will get a big buff in battle, as we'll see now, against Will. He's our first league member. He is a Psychic type specialist who leads with Xatu. Xatu goes down in 1-shot. Executor's out to play next. Is he going to take in Sunlight? No, he went for the worst move there. He went for Leech Seed. That is terrible for us because that now means we're going to be taking passive damage every single turn we don't knock something out. And that includes against this Slowbro. He's going to use Amnesia here. We are still comfortably above half health. We've only got the last Xatu left to go. We outspeed and we knock it out. That could have been a lot worse than it was. 1:20.05 for Will. Second up is Koga. Koga is, of course, a poison type specialist, and I don't think this one's going to be very problematic. I think it's going to be a bit of a sweep, maybe a couple of issues with Crobat, but could overconfidence and knock us out? That is the question. It's going to be 2 shots on Fortress as he sets up pointless spikes. Here comes Venomoth. Will use Surf. Is he going to use Confuse? Yes, he is, but we don't hit ourselves in confusion. Muck comes out to play. We don't have anything fantastic for Muck. It's probably going to be a 2 or 3 shot. He's minimalised, but we snap out of confusion as we grow to level 50. The last Pokemon is Crobat. We'll try a Spark. He uses Wing Attack. I think he knows it's all over because he is now caught in a healing loop. We knock it out in 1 further shot, and that's Koga done, and we are on to Bruno. Now, I've taken a little bit of thinking time for Bruno. I think we're going to sack Flail at this point, or we're going to have Rain Dance in its place. It might just be the play. It might be a misplay, but it will boost our Surf at the very least. He's a fighting type specialist. He leads with Hitmontop. Now, we're going to take damage from Hitmontop unless we crit, so we might as well set the Rain Dance off now, because that turns Hitmontop. It doesn't turn it into a one-shot. That is a little bit disastrous, oh dear. We should be able to knock out the Hitmonlee though in 1 shot. Who's next? It's going to be Hitmonchan. Rain has stopped. This is all falling apart. Let's give it another go. I think we can get somewhere. We've just got to try and play it a little bit smart. We know that we can't really do anything against Hitmontop, even with a boosted Surf. So we'll knock it out in 2, and we'll try setting up against the Hitmonlee instead. We are going to take a lot of damage in this battle, unfortunately. We knock it out in 1 this time. Hitmonchan comes out to play. Mach Punch is guaranteed damage, but we knock it out in 1. Here comes Onyx. He's saving the Machamp till last, probably because he sees the rain. He saw our strategy all the way through. Cross Chop hits. It doesn't crit. He's healing looping. We are absolutely fine. We get through Bruno. That was probably a case of me overthinking it. But we're through in the end. It doesn't matter. Remember, this is a first gut instinct run. I never do any pre-planning on the channel. We always do just gut instinct runs. And I have just noticed we don't have a HP up. So we're not going to be able to do the HP up strategy for Karen. I don't think that's the right play anyway. Let's unpause the timer now that I've stopped with that thinking time. Instead, what we're going to do is we're going to use a Max Elixir, and we're just going to try our very best against Karen. I think we're going to be struggling either way. If we can knock out the Umbreon in 3, I'll be happy. We get confused, which isn't great, but it's better than what could have happened with the Sand Attack, which she just does on turn 2 instead. She's taunting us today. We grow to level 51, out comes Vileplume. Is this going to be a one-shot? We're not lucky enough. Unfortunately for her, though, her Stun Spore misses. We're in with a chance. Not a great chance, but we could do something here. We outspeed the Gengar. It knocks itself out. Murkrow's next. We have Spark for Murkrow. We will have something super effective for Houndoom as well. Is Karen going to cooperate with us, or are we going to fall at the final hurdle? The Spadef drop means nothing. We are through Karen. And that just means we've got Lance left to go. And honestly, Lance is going to be a walk in the park. We've got Surf for the Charizard. We've got Surf for the Aerodactyl. We've got Spark for Gyarados. We have, of course, Hidden Power Ice for his Dragonite. Let's try and sweep this thing. We'll start off with a Spark against the Gyarados. It goes down in 1. Dragonite number 1 comes out and I misclick and use Rain Dance. So I'm getting a little bit overconfident. Even though we are paralysed, I'm still going to try and keep going on. I'm so used to having Rain Dance, or I should say Hidden Power, in slot number 3, that sometimes, when it's in a different position, I completely mess up. It's been a long recording session up until this point as well, unfortunately. One of those ones my brain is a little bit mushy. Kind of one of the things that does happen when you're a challenge runner, especially if you're doing a live voiceover. It meant nothing in the end though, just lost us around about 10 seconds. We weren't on the best time anyway, but we get through Lance. And that does mean we're about to get our final Hall of Fame time. And that final time is 1 hour 24 minutes and 55 seconds, putting us in 76th place at the midway points of the challenge. There's still 8 gym badges plus the red fight left to come though, so don't you dare go anywhere. Kanto is next. And we rejoin the action here in Vermilion City, where the first thing we do in Kanto is the last thing we do in Johto. We're going to get another rare candy, this time from the chairman of the Pokémon fan club. And just before we head into our Kantonian gauntlet, I want to mention that we did go and get Ice Beam as opposed to Thunderbolts from the game corner. I thought it would be much better at this point of the challenge to have 3 consistently high-powered moves when you factor in Stab, compared to having something of much higher power with Thunderbolt and lacking in the ice department, especially for trainers like Erica. But with all that out of the way, I'm more than pleased to announce that Lantern is capable of taking on our standard Kantonian routing. So we're going to start here at Surge, we'll move across to Erica, then it's down to Janine, back up to Sabrina, further up to Misty, across the mountains to Brock, down to Blaine, and we'll finish off with Blue. Talking of Blue, if you do want to rejoin the live commentary, it's going to be happening at around about 34 minutes and 11 seconds. For everybody else, let's now sit back, relax, and have our standard Kantonian chat. And in this one, I want to start off by talking about the ways I think Lantern could have been improved in Generation 2. Don't get me wrong, it's not a bad Pokemon, it's just very middle of the road, and in a solo setting it really is out of its depth, if you'll excuse the pun there. There are 2 main ways I can think of where Lantern could have been improved. First of all, take it out of the slow experience group. It has absolutely no right being in there. It is not the kind of Pokemon that deserves to level up as slowly as it does. So give it something like medium slow, which has a very fast leveling curve in the early game, and suddenly that giant grind we did at the start of the game becomes much less tedious and much less time consuming. And the other thing would be to just give it Thundershock as a level 1 move. It's a unique type combination in Generation 2, and you've got to wait all the way until the mid-20s in order to get an electric type move on your learn set. If we had Thundershock, we would have defeated Falkner very easily, and we'd have been on our way to Azalea Town, where Bugsy Scyther would also have been weak to Thundershock. So instead of having to be very grateful that Geodude is incredibly abundant in the early game so we could knock things out in one shot with Bubble, we'd have been able to progress much smoother. I think it would be nice to actually do a redo at some point where I give Lantern these tweaks, and we can see just how much of a difference it makes. So please do let me know if you're interested in seeing some kind of stream series where we go through some of these less good Pokemon and we apply fixes that we come up with together, and we see if that makes a significant improvement to their time. And in the second part of this chat, I just want to tell you a little bit about what I've been up to during my time off, because whenever I'm not creating content for the channel, I'm still thinking about the channel, because I do think there is a little bit of a misconception about when I'm not actively uploading content on the channel that I just completely forget everything about it. When I'm not uploading, generally what I'm doing is I'm working on stuff in the background, because if I'm not able to create content, I want to create things which will then enable me to create content later on. And during my time off this time, I've managed to get GameHook reworking from an old version of source code, so that is now back in active development. I reworked the gift lock which we saw on Christmas Day, so that the coding is much more stable than it was before. Last time I kind of janked it in preparation for the Christmas Day video, but this time I've made sure it's on a very solid foundation, and I've hopefully got rid of all of the pesky soft locks that somehow snuck their way into the code last time. And then finally I put down the framework in place so that I could stream both to YouTube and Twitch simultaneously, and I tried to bring some of the fun elements of streaming on Twitch over to YouTube. But with that, let's now hand back to the Blue fight. And now with all 16 gym badges acquired, it's time to take on Blue. He's our final gym leader of the challenge, and he leads with Pidgeot. We're going to start off with an Ice Beam against Pidgeot. We take it deep into the red. He mirror moves, but thank goodness he didn't freeze. That brings us on to Executor. We're going to do exactly the same and hope we don't get seeded. Sunny Day is absolutely fine. We're not going to worry about that, because that just means we can get him caught in a healing loop, and that's going to prevent Sunny Day from doing too much to our Surf. Third up is Alakazam. We've not got anything particularly great for Alakazam, so we're just going to hope that he doesn't hit us too hard. He's now in a bit of a healing loop himself. We'll knock it out with Return. Rhydon's next. The sun has faded, so we can use Surf against the Rhydon, knock it out in one. The penultimate Pokemon is Gyarados. Spark should be more than cromulent enough to knock that out in one. We'll grow to level 60, and the last Pokemon is Arcanine. Extreme Speed does nowhere near enough to finish us off. We'll knock it out in one final hit. And we are through Blue in a time of 1 hour, 42 minutes, and a few seconds. For some reason my split didn't work there, but we did get through in 1 hour, 42 minutes, and about 6 seconds. Split worked in the end. Let's chat with Professor Oak. Let's unlock Mount Silver, and we can start thinking about a Red. Goodness me, what a slog it's been with this one, honestly. I will be perfectly honest with you all, I have not vibed at all with our Lantern. It has felt more like I am forcing it around Johto than we are working together as a team, like it quite often does in challenge runs. You find it goes one of two ways with these mid Pokemon. Either it surprises you like some of the others have done, or you kind of had a feeling it was going to go this way. And that's definitely how it felt with Lantern. We're going to give it the best chance possible, though, to get through Red in a very decent time. And that means we're going to be flying back over to Goldenrod City's Pokemon Center, where we're going to go and get ourselves Thunderbolt. All we need to do is change the time to Saturday once more. That should re-trigger the dude outside of Goldenrod City. It has not. Let's try changing it to Wednesday instead. Sometimes it doesn't like you changing it to the same day twice in a row. Bit of a quirk of the system there, but now we should have Bill's father, I think it is. We just need to buy ourselves 1,000 more coins, get ourselves Thunderbolt, and we will hopefully then have a very good chance of getting through Red. I still don't think it's going to be easy, but I think it's going to be much less difficult than if we didn't have Thunderbolt on the learn set. Let's now fly back to Silver Cave, and we can get ourselves ready. I think we might need to dig in a little bit for this one though. Gut instinct is telling me it's going to be trickier than I'd like it to be. But then that's what my gut instinct has been telling me the entire way through this challenge. So we're going to be getting there around about 1 hour 44 minutes and 10 seconds. Before we beat Red, please do get your predictions down in the comments. Let's see how we get on. This is Red, the final challenge of the challenge, and he leads with Pikachu. We don't outspeed the Pikachu, we don't knock it out in one. That's not a good start. We have got him healing looping, so we're going to use this one to try and get a bit of info about how bad the rest of the challenge is going to be. He's going to set up Reflect, that's absolutely fine. Psychic hits fairly hard though. Let's take a reset. Let's use some rare candies. We've got 10 rare candies at our disposal. We always use them in a pattern of 3, 3, and then 4. That's to try and maintain a little bit of consistency. We're not going to outspeed Pikachu at this speed either. That's not great. Are we doing over half yet against the Espeon? No, we are not. That means another reset. Let's get up to 66. Hopefully now we'll start to see some improvements to things. We're still not quicker than Pikachu. I think we are just going to focus on our special attack though, so I don't mind getting charmed. We're now at a point where we get crit by Espeon, but I think we're in 2-shot range. Let's use the last 4 rare candies. It's hopeless any other level. Let's try at 70 and hope that we actually make some decent progress. We are now speed tied with the Pikachu. That's good, but also it would have been nice to be slightly quicker. We're still slower than the Espeon. It's not quite a 2-shot. It's going to be a 3-shot. Let's take a reset. I think, you know, it's just going to be about getting the right RNG here now. Maybe we could have done something with Rain Dance. Reflect being up is great for us. We don't get hit too hard there. We 2-shot the Espeon this time. We are on to a Venusaur. We're going to use Ice Beam against the Venusaur and hope for a couple of high rolls. He's going straight into taking Sunlight. We don't mind that. Now, here is the issue. This is the big, pesky, sleepy bear. He could really do some damage against us. Body Slam's going to hurt. It paralyzes us. I think, you know, that might be our cue to use Zap Cannon. We don't very often see Zap Cannon. I'm going to get rid of Return. There's no sense in going physical. But Zap Cannon might just help in a pinch. We're going to start off with a Surf against Pikachu. We absolutely don't care about Charm anymore. Let's move on to the Espeon. Let's Zap Cannon it and hope it hits. We have managed to get the hit. That means we outspeed the Espeon. We can swap to Surf. And then we're going to have to go for the Ice Beam strat against the Venusaur, unfortunately. There's no two ways about it. He's taking in Sunlight. We get it through in 2 shots. Please hit Zap Cannon. We've done a lot of damage to Snorlax there. He's body slammed straight away as well, which is very, very unusual. He is taking us down to 3. We miss, and he didn't get fully paralysed. Let's equip the lefties. I think that's all we can do now. We just have to hope for the correct RNG. Could happen very quickly. It could happen in 20 to 30 minutes time. All we know is we are here for the ride. I think we can probably just about get away with 2 shots now. With Surf on the Espeon, we're going to be recovering passively. Ice Beam low rolls this time. Is that going to be enough to knock it out? Just about. Back onto the pesky Snorlax. Will Zap Cannon, we miss. Amnesia, terrible for us. Zap Cannon misses twice in a row and we get paralysed. We're on to reset number 23. Let's see if this is our lucky reset. We've not had the best of times with Red here with Lanturn so far. We're going to use Surf against the Espeon. Hopefully only take 1 turn of damage. It's going to be a range, but we crit. We are back onto Venusaur. We know that we can 2-shot the Venusaur, but it's not guaranteed. We get lucky this time. We 2-shot it back onto Snorlax. Snorlax is the thorn in our side. We paralyse it with Zap Cannon. He gets fully paralysed. He manages to get an Amnesia off though, which is terrible for us. And now he's going to start body slamming. I think our best option is to try and freeze the Snorlax. It seems like Venusaur is seeing the KO with Solar Beam. So it's not going for Sunny Day, it's going straight for Solar Beam, and we can work with that. We know it can be a 2-shot on the Venusaur with Ice Beam. We've just got to high roll both times. That's what we've done here. Now we are hoping and praying for the Ice Beam to freeze the bear. If we freeze the bear just like that, we are in with a chance. It's not guaranteed. We just want some Zap Cannons to hit. 4, 5 in a row have missed. We're going to have to pivot to Thunderbolt instead and hope it just stays frozen. The RNG for us has been terrible this entire challenge, but it stays frozen. We're through the bear. We've got 2 Pokemon weak to water left to go. We'll use a Thunderbolt against the Blastoise. Goes down in 2. We've just got Charizard left to go. The light is at the end of the tunnel. Flamethrower is going to do next to nothing. We have 5 Thunderbolts left. We're only going to need 1. We defeat Red in a time of 1 hour, 51 minutes and 24 seconds. And this challenge is over. Goodness me, what a challenge that was. We were middle of the road as we kind of expected. We finished up in 77th place on the leaderboard, in between the original Magmar challenge and the Wheezing challenge. That does of course mean there's no difference to page 2. It's still Lugia heading it up with Xatu at the very busy bottom of page 2 in the drop zone. On our page 3 we now have Victory Bell heading up, and it's the gruesome twosome of Shuckle and Magcargo down in last spots. And there's no difference to page 1 either. We still have Dodrio in first, we have Ho-Oh in second, and Pidgeot in third. But with that, we are done. So really hope you enjoyed this one. If you have, make sure to leave a like. If you got any feedback, leave it in the comments down below. If you want to see more just like this, make sure to subscribe to the channel. And until next time, I'll say thank you all so much for watching. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I'll see you all very, very soon.